Welcome to the video version of the Battleground podcast. I am your host, Battle, alongside my tag team partner, Eli. He will join us here in a second. I just want to take a quick second and say thank you guys for watching the video. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave us some nice comments, leave us some nice reviews, and share it with all your friends because that helps us out tremendously, which, by the way, speaking of helping us out tremendously, we do have wrestling t-shirts. Thanks to our friends at Territory Wrestling Tees, you could support the Battleground podcast and get you a cool t-shirt with that logo on a t-shirt. territorywrestlingtees.com. That's where you can get it. Also, you can follow the show. We're on Instagram, Battleground Podcast. Twitter is Battleground IHR. And please make sure you go follow us, like us, and help us out. And also, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a nice review, leave us 5 stars. And man, we would be greatly honored. And we are having a contest, by the way, on Twitter, Battle on Air. That's where you can find me. Fight TV has been gracious enough to give us a code to give away AEW Full Gear tomorrow night, and you can win it. Go to Twitter right now, Battle on Air. By the way, it's only open for people outside of the U.S. So without further ado, we got a special guest on the show, Ricky Starks. Let's start that fancy brand new intro. Here we are. It is time for another episode of the video version of the Battleground podcast. And it just so happens going down tomorrow night on pay-per-view. I'm talking about AEW Full Gear, which, by the way, you can get it on all major cable and satellite providers, BR Live, and, of course, international fans only, Fight TV, which you can actually win a code to watch AEW Full Gear. I got it for you on the Twitter. I don't know why I said the Twitter, but Battle on Air. Follow me. Our friends at Fight TV hooked us up with a code for international fans. But without further ado, let's bring my tag team partner in, Eli. There he is.
You sound like my grandmother when you're like the Twitter, the Facebook.
I know I'm like 31 and I'm like Twitter. But anyways,
Okay.
today we have a special guest on the show, and I'm kind of baffled by this of what's happening. So AEW Full Gear Saturday. So let's bring our guest in, Ricky Starks.
Oh, hello.
There he is. So let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I'm looking through everything that's happening at Full Gear. Ricky Starks and Brian Cage are not on the lineup. What?
Yeah, I know.
That?
Tell me about it. It doesn't make sense, man. It does not make sense to me, and I can't wrap my brain around it of why we're left off. That's a lot of money you're leaving on the table, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, you two made probably the biggest splashes come into the company this year, and then
Exactly
to not be on a marquee pay-per-view is like kind of strange.
Right. Yeah.
It's your record, by the way.
Yeah, perfect record. Honestly, one of the best records in AEW. Even then, Cage has a better record. You know, he never lost.
Yeah.
He never lost. So technically, he should be contending for the title right now, and I think I'm just as baffled as you guys are.
Yeah. Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed that you guys show up somehow.
And I was on the media call with Cody, and he referred to you as the King of Dark for AEW Dark on Tuesday nights. And it's just like, okay, if he's the King of Dark, why isn't the King on, Full Gear? Why isn't Team Taz there? You've got Brian Cage as the FTW champion.
Yeah.
But where's Ricky Starks and Brian Cage and Team Taz?
Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. But I'll tell you this, just like we promised on Dynamite this past Wednesday, our presence will be felt one way or another. Point blank, period.
Let's kind of start. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. You've had a huge 2020. You started the year competing in the NWA TV title tournament, beating Eddie Kingston, who is going up against Jon Moxley for the title Saturday night. Matt Cross, Tim Storm, and finally Trevor Murdoch to win the title. What was it like being a part of that tournament and being the first to hold this legendary title again?
Man, it was really insane, actually, because that Hard Times pay-per-view, I actually had to wrestle 3 times. And then leading up to that, obviously had to go through Eddie Kingston to even get into the semifinals. It's just it's so bizarre when you really think about it, because not only was I the first champion of this generation, the first world television champion, but if you really go 6 degrees of separation, I'm now working in a company that that the men, the legends actually held that title. Where I'm talking about Tully, I'm talking about Arn, I'm talking about, even the great Dusty Rhodes held that title as well. So that lineage was very important to me to be a part of, because I understood and I still appreciate the significance of it. You know what I'm saying? And that is a very hard and rare thing to share, that type of prestige with the men that have come before me. And that's just, dude, that's not even hitting the surface of the people who have held this title. So it was actually very, very crazy, insane to me to think that's how I started off 2020, and to think how the following months thereafter happened. I couldn't have predicted this even in my wildest dreams. Never.
Yeah. Do you hang that victory over Eddie backstage at AEW now?
Oh,
Okay.
I
Gotta rib
hang
him.
most. Honestly, I hang the match. I had an indie match against him at Inspire, and I hang that over his head more than anything.
We interviewed Tracy Williams last week from Ring of Honor, and I thought the last live show that we had seen before the pandemic was a Ring of Honor show, but it's actually, you were on the show. It was outside of Clarksville, Tennessee, and you fought MVP.
MVP, yeah, that's right.
That was a killer match. That was probably the match of the year. And I'm not saying that because you were match of the night. Excuse me, year's not over. Yeah, it was that was a killer match. What was that experience like? I mean, had you fought him before, like on an indie match or anything?
I never wrestled MVP before that, so obviously going into that match, I didn't know what to expect. And if I remember correctly, that's the match where he doesn't really say it, but he kind of announces his retirement afterwards.
Yeah.
Right?
That's I think that was the surprising thing, is like he kind of did a speech afterwards and says, my days are numbered, but then he's kind of had this really kind of crescendo,
Right.
in WWE now. But yeah, it was cool to see you go over on him. Obviously his work speaks for himself. He's incredible.
It ended up being crazy for him as well, because after that match, he had all intentions to go ahead and bow out of wrestling.
Right.
But then obviously I think the Rumble happened, and then it kind of just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like the parallels are there. The universe definitely works in a certain way. But yeah, that was a great time. I actually enjoyed wrestling in Tennessee. That was a fun show. And in fact, I don't know if you remember, but Reba of AEW Claim to Fame and Britt's right woman, she was on that show as well.
Yeah,
She
she
dressed
wrestled
the Panda. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun night. It was a little bit of a drive for me, but I made it to it. So
Hey, worth it.
yeah. So going back to 2020, so you kind of made a splash in June. You challenged Cody for the TNT Championship. After that show, Tony Khan announced you officially signed with AEW. Can you kind of give us a little bit of how you got the ball rolling? We know that the Cody match was an open challenge, but like, were there discussions about you signing full time before that, or was it the performance of the match? Like, okay, we got to sign this guy. Like, how'd you get into the company, basically?
So here's the thing. A lot of people think that I was signed previous going to that match. I wasn't. And I know people want to believe in organic things really happen in wrestling still. And I would like to tell you that is absolutely the case for the situation. Basically what happened was I saw that Cody announced that he was going to do an open challenge on Wednesday for Dynamite, right? That following day, Thursday, I was in the gym and I couldn't get this idea out of my head of, oh, that's how I debut. That's the next step for me. And it just was a repeating thing. And then I want to say that following Sunday, I got a random text message from Cody asking, like if I was still in the contract, or, basically if I was available, essentially. And if I wanted to come in and try my hand at the title. And I said, absolutely. So after that, I want to say that aired on the following Wednesday or whatever it was. It aired on Wednesday, of course. After that match, I talked to Tony and we spoke a bit, and he offered me a contract based off of that because he was thoroughly impressed. Everyone was impressed by it. So it's crazy to think in 2020 that things like that still happen.
Right.
But there was no talks before. There was nothing. It was, to me, it was just a one-off thing, and I was going to be done with it, go on the indies, raise my rate, and then just figure out what the next move was going to be, because I wasn't with NW anymore.
Right. And it's that's kind of telling, because there have been challengers to Cody's title that did not sign. They just came,
Right.
did it, and left. So yeah, so that definitely says a lot, obviously, about your talent and stuff.
Yeah, and I remember when you showed up, like, in our group chat, we all, like, marked out, because it was like, oh my God, like, Ricky Starks is here on AEW. He is challenging Cody. Like, this is going to be amazing. And you took Cody to the limit.
Yeah.
Then I was waiting, and I was like, okay, if he doesn't have a contract by the end of this night, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the first thought, we were like, holy crap, he's gonna take this belt from Cody. Like, what is going on? And then we were like, oh wow, that's okay. He's got to sign. That's a no-brainer.
And then we saw on AEW's social media, and it was like, Ricky Starks is All Elite. And I was like, it couldn't happen to a better person to get that deal. And we're super excited to have you on AEW, and you can watch Ricky Starks on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and possibly, let's see, Saturday night at AEW Full Gear.
I'm going to say, I think you should tune in to Full Gear this Saturday, for sure. And I'm going to just leave it at that.
Nice.
Oh, man. And, talking about Full Gear and how you've aligned yourself. So having been there a while, you're now with Taz and Brian Cage, and you're with Team Taz, which Taz is a phenomenal person, as he is. Is there anything you would have done differently in your match with Cody if you could go back and have it again with Taz behind you?
I think the only thing I would have done differently is not lose, because admittedly I lost a little bit of focus just because of Arn being there, and there was this, I wouldn't say it was intimidation, but there was like this weird feeling I had with him being there, and obviously getting distracted in the sense of, like, I don't want to be disrespectful to Arn, but at the same time, I'm also trying to get a job, and I'm trying to win a title, and I'm trying to change my life for the better when it comes to the money. So I think I just would have been a little bit more zoned in and focused if I had Taz there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have worried about that. But that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, I think I had it in the bag. It's just things happened that I shouldn't have happened, and obviously I lost. So.
Well, Arn has that ability. I met him at All In, the first, unofficial AEW thing, and I got him to sign my TV title. And like, nice. I couldn't even speak to him. I was like, "You're the freaking enforcer!" Like, holy shit, So yeah. I relate to you there. Yeah. So kind of moving on to current stuff, the bad blood between you and Darby Allin's really been growing last couple of weeks, even into months. What would you say is your biggest issue with Darby? And then if he wins Saturday somehow, do you plan on challenging him for the TNT title?
Honestly, the biggest issue to me with Darby is the fact that I don't really appreciate the fact nowadays where someone like me with the type of pedigree that I have, right? I would have been an obvious choice for a company to really rally behind and push forward, and people backstage and the fans would be like, oh, this is the dude that we like. Unfortunately, in today's society, I am considered the oddball. I'm considered the odd one out. So obviously I have a bit of an issue with that, because I've busted my ass to look the way that I do, to be as good as I am in the ring. And I'm not saying that Darby isn't good in the ring. Trust me, I ate my words on that before, and I was proven wrong. But what I'm just saying is, when it comes to an appearance aspect, I should be the sure winner. I should be the one that should be doing public relations, magazines, interviews. That should be me. And that isn't the case right now. So I do have a bit of a gripe with that. In addition to that, I didn't appreciate basically having a guy jump on my back with thumbtacks. It's unsafe, and it was garbage. Yeah. So I also have issues with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're a top tier talent, it's easy to,
Yeah, I've been top tier talent since I started in wrestling. That has always been the thing for me. And sadly enough, I've seen it evolve to the point where now someone like me is immediately the outcast, and someone who's paying a ticket doesn't want to really relate to me, because they're jealous, or I don't look like a typical person that you would see on the street. I get it. I look great. I'm fine as hell, and I can't help that. I'm just be straight with you. I can't help that. That's just how I
Born
born.
pretty. What are you gonna do?
That's why he's
Right.
on this interview with us to make it not as bad with looking at us. Everybody can just look at Ricky on the interview.
Right.
Exactly. That's it. That's all you need.
So Saturday night is AEW Full Gear. You can get it live on pay-per-view Saturday, November 9th. All major cable and satellite providers, you're going to get it on BR Live. And of course, Fight TV, international fans only. You can actually win a code, which we're giving away on Twitter, Battle on Air. That's where you can get the code, thanks to our friends at Fight TV. But now it's kind of a fun time. We sent out a thing about fan questions, and I actually kind of like this one. So Nels the Great wanted to know, how did you and Taz meet, and who approached who?
Well, I'll tell you what. After my match I had with Cody, I met Taz in the lobby, and he called me over and we talked a bit. It was just trying to get a better feel about my career, where I was from, my background, things like that. So that was really the first time we met. And I think from there, talking to me, Taz felt some type of way, and that I wasn't just some one-trick pony type dude. I'm in here to make money. I'm not here to make friends, make money, win titles, and move on and go on to bigger and better things. That period, the end. That's what it was about. So I think Taz understood that from the jump. And I think he liked that. And I think that's how this whole relationship has blossomed into what it is currently.
Nice. Well, the pairing, on paper kind of seems strange, but
Of course.
it definitely gels. I mean, you, Cage, and Taz is just, it's, seeing it in person and in the flat or on TV in the ring is like, whoa, that kind of works
Right.
on different levels. So yeah.
And you know what? I'll go ahead and call it that within a year, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage will be AEW Tag Team Champions.
Why not?
You know what? I'm not gonna dispute you on that. I'm not at all. But I will give a clarification. We are not technically a tag team. We are a unit. So while we move individually, the collective is in our thought process, right? And how we manage things. So I'm not saying that won't ever happen. But for right now, I don't see that being a thing, because our focus is, we got Cage trying to go after Moxley. We got myself trying to vie for the TNT title, whoever that may be after Saturday night, right? So I think we got our focus with individual championships.
That makes sense. Yeah. And then, of course, if a fight comes along, I don't think you two will back down from it. So
if a fight or two comes along and we gotta throw down together, then so be it. We have no problem with that.
Right. Well, AEW's gotten a lot of positive feedback about how they've handled running shows, with COVID and the pandemic and everything. What has been the biggest challenge of not only running a show during this time, but also becoming a new employee during the pandemic?
Well, AEW has been fantastic when it comes to the safety and testing. And I have such a peace of mind with that every time I come to work. I think the biggest challenge would be not having crowds. It's hard to debut in a place with no fans. And especially for someone like me who was virtually an unknown, right? I wasn't that known on the indies, and I wasn't that known to the public. So when I came in, it was like, who is this? I think that would have been a different scenario had there been fans. So for me, that was a very tough thing to get over. But we have fans now. They are socially distant, and they're back and they're loud. So we get a little bit of that back, but I can't wait until we're able to have the full arenas packed out, so I can get back into feeling that essence, that vibe that they bring.
Right.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is we went to a AEW show when it was here in Nashville, and like the thing is what we thought was cool was, during commercial breaks there was stuff going on, like Justin Roberts was interacting with the fans and everything. Yeah. And when the promo was going on, you heard it through the speakers, or when they came back from commercial and like there was Tony and Excalibur and JR, you actually got to hear what they were saying over the speakers. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, because we've been to other shows where they come back from commercial, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're just sitting there in silence.
You're just sitting there awkwardly like, what's going on? But that was the cool thing in AEW. And I mean, just watching that show. Cannot wait to get back to live shows and have AEW back in Nashville. So a kind of another fan question as I'm kind of scrolling through a lot of them. This is just kind of I guess a non-wrestling thing. But Tanner_McTanner wants to know, what's your favorite thing to order at Whataburger?
I actually don't eat Whataburger. It has never set well with me. So usually what I get, like if it's late night and I want something and I'm craving something and Whataburger's the only thing open, I'll only get the fries. The fries are
the best.
Yeah, absolutely. The fries are good, but I can't eat the burger. I can't eat and also too, I don't think Whataburger's that good, y'all.
Are they, or are there Whataburgers from where you're from, Louisiana? Were they down there?
No. See, what we had in New Orleans, we had Rallies. Rallies had better fries than Whataburger for sure.
Got our version of Rallies is Checkers.
Yeah, they're essentially owned by the same people, right? So, I actually don't like Whataburger, and I don't really care for In-N-Out.
Yeah, I've had them both, and when I'm in Louisiana, I try to seek out Raising Cane's for the chicken.
Oh, what?
Uh-oh.
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh no, here we go. All right, what's your go-to? Are you gonna say Popeyes or something?
All right, okay. I'm about to destroy you. Listen. You sit up here and you talk about eating Raising Cane's, and then you condescendingly say, "Oh, you're gonna say Popeyes?" Well, yeah, no shit. I'm gonna say Popeyes. Popeyes is way better. Popeyes is way better than Raising Cane's. Let me ask you this: when you go to Raising Cane's, do you or do you not get the sauce there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you eat Raising Cane's without the sauce?
I've never tried, but probably not.
Exactly. So you're buying $6 of nasty, greasy 3-piece chicken strips with no seasoning on it, only to have people say, "Hey, Raising Cane's is good because of the sauce." I have to eat the damn chicken with the sauce? What? That makes no sense. It's a chicken place, and I have to get the sauce with it to make it good. Make it make sense.
That's a compelling argument.
No,
I will say the Popeyes mashed potatoes with gravy, perfection.
The face right now. The face. This is the greatest thing in the world.
I am just striking out with him.
Let's just kind of skip to back to wrestling now. Let's say that Tony comes to you and says you could book any match you want. Who are some of your dream competitors you would love to get in the AEW ring with? And could one of those possibly be a rematch with you and Ziggy?
Sure, why not? I mean, I've seemed to be a freaking charity event over here lately, so why not help the less fortunate? So are we referring to anybody?
Anybody you want. Tony comes to you and says, "Look, I'm going to give you a match. You pick the person, and we'll go bring him in."
Well, I would say Taker from like 10 years ago, but if we're talking in present tense, I definitely say Naito. I would love to have a match against Naito, and that is probably a possibility. Who knows?
Yeah,
I think the next person would be Adam Page. I think it would be Jungle Boy for sure. You know what? I think me and Marco would be good too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and those are the main ones that come to mind right now.
I think somebody mentioned
very impressed by those answers.
No, I like those.
You want me to say
I think we were
Omega or what?
Well, I was going to say someone mentioned they thought you and Omega would be, pretty legit.
I think so.
Yeah. But no, I mean those are solid picks. Marco, he's wrestled in Nashville quite a bit, so we kind of claim him as a hometown guy.
I think he lives there, huh?
I think he moved here, not too long ago. Him and his dog. I don't think it's dog, but you know what I mean. So another thing that was pretty cool. You were ranked in the top 100 of the PWI 500 this year, so that was pretty crazy. Are accolades like that exciting, or do you just try not to focus on them and just focus at the task at hand?
What number was I?
91 or 92, I think.
And that was my first time in the PWI, by the way.
Oh, nice! Congratulations.
Yeah, my very first time. Honestly, I think at a certain point they were important to me, And then when I never got on it, I just stopped giving a shit. So I don't know. I mean, that's cool that I was on it, but I don't get paid from that, so I really don't care.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No checks from that. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah. No, but you know what? For debut, that's pretty cool to be the top 100. There's guys who literally go online and complain about not being in it and look like the sorriest crybabies there is. So there's a positive in everything.
I mean, to debut in the top 100, that's small.
Imagine
company.
I debut in top 5, huh?
Hell yeah.
Man, that
Yeah.
Here's something that a lot of people have made some comparisons about you, and we can definitely see that. Many comparisons made between you and The Rock. How would you say you two are similar, and what are the major differences?
Here, I'll tell you why people say that. It's because we have a similar face structure and maybe a similar haircut, skin tone, head, facials. That's really what it is. Because I've asked people before, I said, if I wore a mask, would you think I was The Rock by the way I wrestled? And people were like, no. So that's where I think those similarities. And it's somewhat funny to hear when I dress up and I dress nice. People go, oh, you're just trying to dress like The Rock. And I don't get angry or anything about it, but I just find it so funny because wrestling fans have been so conditioned to, if you dress nice, you have to be The Rock. So it's like the wrestling world has definitely taken a hit when it comes to fashion because that's their standard. And that was from like 96, 97.
I think I saw you interact with someone on Twitter about that. They commented about your whatever you were wearing, and you said something like, yeah, because you haven't seen anyone dressed like this since The Rock, So,
yeah, exactly. I get a lot of people who message me and say, hey, where's your fanny pack? I say, you know what? I don't see people saying where's Zubas at. Bring back Zubas and all other silliness. But no, I don't really care. I think it's funny when people do that. I think the similarities between The Rock and I'll be straight up with you. It comes to talent. That's what it is. It comes straight down to God-given talent. And that's our common thread, me and him, me and good old Dwayne. Nice. Maybe in his new TV show as a younger version of him. Who knows?
Oh, there you go. That'd be cool.
So I'm gonna kind of scroll through and grab 2 more fan questions that we sent out earlier.
Let's do it.
So at Team Kick V2 wants to know who else should join Team Taz, and then I'm gonna add on to that. Is Team Taz looking to add a female to the group?
Are we looking to add anyone, and are we looking to add a female? To be honest with you, we're always looking to add people because the more, obviously there's a limit, but the more people that we have, the more money we make. And that comes just because we're able to diversify our assets. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're always looking to add people. When it comes to a female talent, I actually don't know who would be equipped to do that. Obviously, you would have some people say someone who's like a badass shooter would be great for Team Taz. But if you look at me, it's kind of a contradiction to that requirement because I don't really fit that initially for Team Taz. So I feel like the girl could be anyone from, let's think here. Let's go ahead and say Penelope Ford.
Mm-hmm.
It could go to Anna Jay. It could go to Killer Kelly. It could go to Allison Kay. You know what I'm saying?
Allison Kay was kind of our dark horse. That was our thought.
Really?
Yeah.
I
think she'd mesh well because she's from Detroit, man. She doesn't take any shit.
Yeah, no. Trust me, I work with her.
Yeah.
Either her or Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, or Thunder Rosa. And so obviously those women have very legit backgrounds, the 2 that we just mentioned. But yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know what female would be best. I think that's more of, I guess, just trying it out and see what works.
Yeah.
Well, I've got another fan question over here. This one's from at L Psycho 98, and it's like, hey, I got an idea. The MJF versus Starkman Jones to see who's the better man.
Wait, read that to me one more time.
So they want to know, they've got an idea. The MJF
Oh, okay.
Starkman Jones to see who's the better man.
The better man. Well, I can tell you this. We both lose because I don't think neither of us have any friends that are currently getting married. So I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think we would win either. We'd just be a tie because we don't have many friends that are having weddings right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Max has friends, period.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
that's a great answer to that question. That was
thank you. I know.
Where can everyone keep up with you online? Are you more active on Twitter or Instagram or both? Or
easily. Here's the thing. I'm here to give inspiration for free. So if you're looking for fashion tips, fashion inspo, you can find me on Instagram as Starkey Baby. That'll probably give you a better idea of what a real star looks like. I know it's been a while since a lot of people have seen that in the current realm of wrestling. But if you also want to just follow me, period, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Starkman Jones, and I post cool stuff. I talk about other stuff like AEW, Dynamite, and Dark. And of course, I also make fun of fans who ask stupid questions.
Like, where did you get your training from?
Yes, that's a main one. If you do that, I have to block you. That was in my contract. So yeah.
That's in his contract. Well, Saturday night, AEW Full Gear is live on pay-per-view on all major cable and satellite providers. You can get a BR Live, Fight TV, of course, international fans. You can get that. You can win a free code. We've got a contest going on, Battle on there. That you can find me on Twitter. You can get that thanks to our friends at Fight TV. But we are going to wait and see what happens Saturday night because, once again, Ricky and Brian are not on the lineup, but I'm sure that they'll be on the lineup.
Yes.
Ricky, thank you so much for taking the time out and hanging out with us tonight. And look at the pose. I mean, look at the pose. That's the end. That's the end of the video. There it is. That's
Y'all
it.
are getting it for free.
I know. Boom. Even after I insulted you with canes.
I'm just saying, you got to upgrade your taste buds, bro.
Yeah. What do you think about Bojangles? Is that in the conversation at all, or?
I've never had Bojangles, but there's an annoying Bojangles dude on Twitter, so I hate him.
Oh.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's got the belt, right? The Bojangles belt or whatever.
Jay-Z Flair has the belt, the suit, and everything.
Yeah, that's a little much.
Spend your money better than that. You know what I'm saying? Spend your money. Come on.
I do follow Jay-Z on Twitter and Instagram. He's a great guy, by the way. So I'm just throwing that out.
Have a barbecue with him, but holy shit, he dresses terribly.
He needs to follow your Instagram, right?
Yeah, he does.
There it is.